There we go. We're on. All right. Good morning, guys. Great to see you all. Or it might be afternoon or evening, depending on when you're watching this. As always, modify as needed. Take things slow. Listen to my cues. If it doesn't feel right or hurts, don't do it. When we get into a stretch, nothing past mild to moderate discomfort. Move with your breath. We're going to start down, kneeling on the feet. Just sit back nice and easy. Let's find the breath with some shoulder rolls. Sit back, have your feet nice and flat. You can put your knees out wider, you can have them closer, whatever feels better for you. It'll be a little less of a stretch if you put the knees out wide. Once you sit back onto your feet, sit up nice and tall. Big breath in as we roll the shoulders up to the ears. Pull back through the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades as you round back forward. Keep them going, nice deep. Belly breaths as always, sit up tall. We're gonna shrug all that tension out of the upper back and traps. One of my problem areas, get really tight, a lot of knots in the back of the neck, those upper trap muscles. Keep going. Inhale up. Exhale back. Squeeze the shoulder blades back and down with the elbows. Feel the shoulder blades move up, back, and down with the elbows. Keep trying to get a little higher. Keep trying to get a little further back and down. Here we go. 3 more. Inhale up. Exhale back. 2. 1 more time. Okay, take a big breath in. Reach overhead. Draw the abs tight. Get the arms in line with the ears. Reaching. 1 more breath. Then we go to cactus arms. Spread the fingers wide as you squeeze the shoulder blades back and down with the elbows, and then stretch the arms out in front of you. Child's pose. Take your head, chest down. Deep as you can. Let's take 3 breaths on this first one. I'm going to turn that music up a little bit. 3 breaths in your child's pose. Really stretching those fingers out big, pushing your hips back as deep as you can onto your feet. 2 more breaths. This is the back's happy place. Stretching the low back, quads, lengthening the spine, really reaching out through the arms as we keep the hips back deep onto the feet. 1 more breath. We're going to do it again. Peel back, sit up tall, nice and slow. Take a big breath in. Bring the arms overhead. Reach. Arms in line with the ears, abs tight. 1 more breath in. And cactus arms. Pull the elbows down, spread the fingers wide as low as you can take the elbows, and then reach the arms out into 1 more child's pose. 3 breaths. Told you we're starting nice and easy today. Of course, we're going to pick it up a little bit as we go through our flow. 2 more breaths. Always trying to sink deeper onto the feet, really pushing those hips back, reaching out through the arms, folding into our child's pose as low as you can get for 1 more breath. Excellent. Peel yourself up. Sit up tall. Here we go. Next sequence. Big breath in. Arms overhead. Reach. Take the left hand or elbow to the floor next to you for a nice big side bend. Reach through the fingers at the waist. Keep your head and chest tall. Pretend like a wall is behind you as we bend and reach across through the right fingers. We're keeping our chest tall and our back flat. Here we go. Inhale up to the center. Left arm comes back to join the right. Reach. Inhale and exhale. Right hand or elbow to the mat, whichever feels better for you. 3, 2, 1. Inhale up, reach overhead, arms together. Exhale down, opposite side, always trying to reach a little further. 3, 2, 1. Inhale up, unwind it, right back to the top. And exhale down, opposite side, hand or elbow to the mat, whichever feels good for you. Here we go. Keep them going. Inhale up. Fluid, precise movements. Exhale down with the breath. 3, 2, 1. Inhale up, getting a really nice stretch down the sides. Exhale down. We're getting that low back moving. Maybe you've already had a couple of nice adjustments. Here we go. Inhale up. One more each side. Reach higher. Exhale down. Last one on this side. Reaching, bending at the waist. One more time. Inhale up. Reach, reach, reach. Exhale down to the side. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Come into table pose. I'm going to turn so you can get a better view of our next sequences. You position yourself where you can see me best on your monitor. And we will start with a modified down dog. Let's give the knees a little break. We kind of got a shoulder girdle theme going. Let's stick with it. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Spread the fingers wide. Make sure you're wider than your shoulders. Make sure your knees are right under your hips. Dive the head and chest down. One of our go-tos, a great way to stretch the chest and upper back without any equipment. Of course, these Yogalates flows, no equipment. Dive your head, chest down. Turn your head and look to one side. If you can get down that extra little inch or two. Reach out through the fingers, pull the shoulder blades back. I want you to think about pushing your butt back towards your feet without letting your hands move. And we're going to get that nice long angle, that nice lengthening through the back and spine, really stretching the chest and upper back out. Let's do 2 more breaths just for good measure. You know what's screaming at me here, my hamstrings. We got to do some good hamstring stretching today. One more breath. We're going to sit up tall, and we're going to get right to those hamstrings. Okay, peel yourself back, drag the arms, sit up tall in our high hero pose. Bring your left foot forward, low lunge. Make sure you have a nice big angle at the knee because we're going to fully extend that left leg for modified triangle. So left leg right out in front of the hip. Toes to the ceiling, knee is fully extended. Let's take the hands down nice and slow. Relax into the knee. Once you get your hands to your lowest point, if you can take the hands to the floor, that's great. Whatever lowest point you can get to for your range of motion, your mobility, your level of comfort, relax into your leg. Find that sticking point. Big, big hamstring stretch, especially that biceps femoris, that big hamstring muscle on the lateral portion behind the thigh. You hear me talking about that guy a lot. 3 breaths, flexing those toes for bonus stretch. And remember, relax your body. Take all the tonus and tension out. Don't fight the stretch. Relax. And on those deep belly breaths, as you exhale, you sink down a little deeper into your stretch. 2 more breaths. Let's give it 1 more breath, relaxing, folding a little deeper. Good. Lift your head, chest up, and bend your knee so that left foot is flat. Take the right hand underneath your chest shoulder somewhere. So we have the left leg forward, right hand down. You can keep your back knee on the floor. Let's rotate up into modified reverse triangle. Reach up through the left fingers, palm forward. Turn your head, look up your left arm, and reach behind you. Pretend like that imaginary wall is still behind you. 3 breaths, getting your back as flat as you can. You know, it's really at a benefit of mine to have my monitor where I can see myself. I know you guys probably can't see yourself because you're a little tiny box up in the corner somewhere, but if you can find a space to do these where you have a mirror, I find it really helps to do some checks in the mirror as you go through these positions and you hear the cues. Let's do one more breath. Good. Take the left hand down to the floor to join your right hand. Scoot your left leg a little bit out to your side, keeping the heel under the knee. Lizard. So all I did was scoot my heel out so I could comfortably put both hands under the chest. First step is slide your right leg back as far as you can. If you're already getting a big stretch here, you stay here. If you can go deeper, take your right forearm and elbow to the mat first for a half dragon. If you can go to full dragon, then you take the left elbow to the mat as well. 3 breaths. Boy, big hip opener. We're stretching the inner thigh, the adductor muscles of that left leg we have forward. If you have that back right leg really straight, you're feeling the stretch in the hip flexors and quads in the front of the hip. Really getting into the inner hips here. 2 more breaths. If you got those elbows to the floor and you want to add a little movement in, you can move that stretch around. A little rock in the hips side to side. Play around with these stretches and poses. Get familiar with them. Feel where you get less, more of a stretch. Feel how you move them around. All good for body awareness. 1 more breath. Good. If you're on your elbows in dragon, come up to your hands back to lizard. Bring your back right knee off the floor. So we're in a lunge position, low lunge. We're going to draw the left leg back. Any way you can make that transition is fine. I want you to press your heels back into the floor and dive the head down for 3 breaths. Double heel press. So all I did was push back and I'm driving the heels into the floor and then I'm diving my head down between the arms towards my legs to increase that stretch a bit. 2 more breaths. Reaching out through the arms, diving the head down, pressing those heels back. Really good stretch. Achilles tendon, soleus, calves, hamstring attachments right behind and below the knee. Last breath, flatten your back out. Let the knees come down softly. Child's pose for a little recovery. You scoot forward. I always find myself more and more out of the picture. Relax down. Little recovery. 3 recovery belly breaths. Again, you breathe freely. I like to do deep in the nose, out the mouth breaths. Those are more kind of classic Pilates breath. You can go in the nose, out the nose, more yoga. Whichever energy feels better for you when we do these flows. Let's do 1 more breath. We got to do that same sequence on the other side. My friends, sit up tall, high hero pose. Now we take the right foot forward, opposite leg. Remember, big angle at the knee because we're going to extend it fully straight, toes to the ceiling. For bonus stretch, flex your toes towards you. That will lengthen every bit of those posterior leg muscles, calves all the way up into the hamstrings. Let's fold it down, trace the hands, relax to your knee, go as low as you can on your leg or to the floor if you have that kind of ability. And again, we fold, we go into our stretch, we find our first sticking point. We take a nice deep belly breath in. We relax our body as much as we can, and on our exhale, we try to sink a little bit past our sticking point further into the stretches. Keep going. All tension and tonus out. And if you practice that with every stretch, every week, you will improve your range of motion greatly. Consistency is key. 2 breaths. Keep those toes up. They're going to want to block out to the side because all those lateral gastroc and hamstring muscles are tight because of our forward and backward movements every day. 1 more breath. hard surfaces we stand on. Okay, come forward so you can push your foot flat and your knee is bent. Remember, we go to lizard. Take both hands under the chest and we just scoot that right leg out just a little bit out of the way. So here's our next position. We have the knee out at about 45 degrees with the heel right underneath the knee. Slide that left leg back as straight as you can. That will take you into the first step of the stretch. If you can go deeper, start with half dragon, opposite arm. Left arm down to the mat. Should have the right leg forward. If you go to full dragon, take the right elbow and forearm to your mat. Modify as needed. Take it one step at a time and stop at any of the steps. 3 breaths. Two breaths. Feel that stretch. Inner thigh, adductors, inner hips, hip flexors of the back left leg. One more breath, friends. We're going to go to our double heel press and child's pose one more time to finish this little sequence. Come to the hands, back to lizard if you're on the elbows. Left knee off the floor. Again, any way you can make this transition is fine. If you need to go to table pose first, that's fine. Come into full prone plank position on the toes. We're going to press the heels back into the floor as we dive the head down and towards the legs, pushing through the arms. 3 breaths. Butt goes up in the air. We make that big angle on the ankles. 3 breaths. Modify as needed. We're going to child's pose next. We'll meet you there if you need to give the arms a break sooner. 2 more breaths. If you're feeling up for it, move the hips a little side to side. Feel the stretch shift over to the lateral portion of the leg that you're swinging your hips over. Diving the head, pressing the heels. The sway is optional. 1 more breath. Flatten your back out. Let the knees come down softly. Come to our recovery child's pose position. Let's take the energy all the way back down. 3 breaths. This is a great example of how mat Pilates and yoga come together so well. We can dynamically stretch, we can activate, we can really warm the body up through our Pilates practice. We can keep that mindfulness and body awareness and recover in our yoga practices. And there's endless possibilities and combinations. 1 more breath. All right, perfect, guys. Sit yourself up. Swing yourself around, have a seat on your butt. Let's get off the knees. Something I always kind of forget to mention in my flows, especially at home when I'm not teaching live, we spend a lot of time on the knees, so make sure you have cushion. I suggest having exercise mats underneath your yoga mats. If you don't have exercise mats, maybe you have 2 or 3 yoga mats, layer those up. Keep your knees happy. Kneeling on hard surfaces is really bad for the knees. It's the #1 cause of knee bursitis. Your fun fact for today. Okay, we're going to do modified boat to forward spine stretch. You can do a full boat if you want. I'm going to do modified half boat with the knees bent because my low back does not like full boat pose. I have too long of legs, too long of a trunk. I want you to stretch your arms straight out in front of you, sit up nice and tall. Lean back just a little bit so you can bring your knees up towards your chest, feet off the floor, and we hold. And if this is too much on your back, keep your feet down and just lean back as much as you can without any discomfort. 3 breaths in our half boat or modified boat, whichever position works for you today. 3 reach your head to the sky, reach straight out through the fingers with the palms down. Keep the knees towards the chest. A lot of core and abs. One more breath. We're going to go to forward spine stretch. Take a big breath in. Let the feet come down. Bring the arms up and forward and dive into the legs as you reach out through the arms. 3 breaths in your forward spine stretch. Extend the knees fully straight. Reach out through your arms. Dive the head, chest down between the arms. And of course, on those exhales, we fold, we sink a little bit deeper. Big hamstring stretch, stretching the back out. Look at the big angle we're making in the back, rounding the shoulders and back as we reach and dive, stretching that mid-back out, stretching the hamstrings. Let's do 2 more breaths, just for good measure. One more breath. We're going to do seated hip twists. We have not stretched the back of the hips much. Peel yourself back. Cross your right leg over top of your left, like so. Right leg over the left leg. Take your left elbow to the top outer side of that right knee. If you don't have that ability, use your hand. That's our anchor point. We're going to keep that knee anchored in towards the body. We're going to walk the hand around the right side behind us. We're going to slowly rotate and look over the right shoulder once we walk that hand as far as we can. 3 breaths. Great stretch. Back of the right hip. That right leg crossed over into the low back on the right side. All those erector spinae muscles on the lower right side of the back that run right into the back of the hip. 2 breaths. Sit up tall. We rotate and look a little further on the exhales. 1 more breath. Return back to the center nice and slow. Extend your right leg out. Cross your left leg over top. Follow the same steps. Turn to your left. Hook your elbow to the top outer side of the left knee or the hand. Walk your hand around your body behind you. Turn your head. Look over your shoulder. And take 3 breaths past your sticking point, not exceeding that 8 of discomfort, mild to moderate discomfort, never pain. Let's give it 1 more breath, and then we're going to lay all the way back. Get into our final sequence, final stretches. Okay, come back to center. Make sure you have room behind you. If you can do a roll back, you peel yourself back 1 vertebrae at a time using your abs. If you need to, just roll to your side. However you can get flat is fine. Once you get flat, if you've worked out with me before, if you've stretched with me before, you know what's coming. Good morning stretch. Anytime we get the opportunity to decompress, to stretch the whole body, we'll take it. Good morning stretch. Reach the fingers behind you. Reach down through your toes. Get as long and as flat as you can. We're pulling the abs in tight. We're flexing and engaging the quads as we point the toes and reach. We're pulling the shoulders up and back as we flatten out and reach back through the fingers. 2 more breaths. One more breath. We're going to do 1 more. I told you we're going to hit the hamstrings 3 or 4 times good today. We're going to scissor the hamstrings. First, come to cradle. Hug the knees into your chest firmly. Get that tailbone lifting up off the ground. Squeeze your abs in. Take a couple breaths. Get as small as you can. So you hug those knees into the body. And then we'll go right into scissor position. Extend your right leg down straight, just a little bit off the floor, and point the toes. So we're pulling the heel towards the floor and pointing the toes of the bottom right leg, and we're keeping the foot a little bit off the floor. Then we extend the left leg up as high as you can and as straight as you can over the hip. Crunch up, grab as high above the knee as you can. Very slowly let your head sink back to take you into the stretch. 3 breaths on this first one as we gently pull that left knee closer and closer towards your body, reaching through the bottom toes. Pulling a little deeper on the exhales. 2 more. Keep that knee as straight as you can. 1 more breath. If you're really tight, you'll be lower or have a bend in the knee. That's okay, as long as you're getting a good stretch. Okay, big breath in. Inhale, scissor the legs. Right leg up, left leg down. Exhale as you pull into your hamstring stretch. Scissoring hamstring stretches. Keep your neck happy if at any point you need to lessen the stretch to let your head come all the way down. Because if you're really tight and you crunch up and then you try to lay your head back, you might get stopped. 2 more breaths. We're going to scissor a couple of them out together. Keep it dynamic. Get a little bit of that mat Pilates energy mixed in. 1 more breath, pulling the leg. All right, guys, let's put them together. Here we go. Inhale, scissor the legs. Exhale, pull and stretch, reach through the bottom toes. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, scissor. Exhale, reach and stretch. 3, 2, 1. On your breath, scissor. Again, relax your head anytime you need to. On your breath, scissor. Pulling a little deeper, a little firmer each time when you feel ready. On your breath, scissor. On your breath, scissor. Let's do 1 more each side. On your breath, scissor. Last one on this leg, stretch it out. 3, 2, 1. On your breath, scissor, stretch it out. 3, 2, 1. Cradle the knees to your chest. Comfortably massage the back and spine, side to side for 3 breaths. Take the energy all the way back down. We are getting towards the end. I can see the light. We're going to double hip twist. Start cooling down, little active recovery, gentle movement. Drop your feet down flat, right under your knees, about hip width or a hair wider, somewhere hip width or wider. Feet right under the knees. Put your arms out to your sides with your palms down. Let me get rid of my pack here. And we just double hip twist. We oscillate the knees side to side. The bottoms of the feet will lift up, but they won't move. The feet will start and end in the same place. We let that outer bottom knee come all the way to the floor or as close as you can, and then I want you to actively push your top knee down towards the bottom leg. And that is where you get that nice stretch in the back of the hip as we keep the low back moving. Of course, take it slow. Remember, no gravity, no momentum. Every inch of every movement is with purpose, with precision, and with your breath. Keep the mind-muscle connection, that mind-body connection and awareness as strong as you can throughout all of our flows. 3 more breaths. And our double hip twist, try to keep getting further and further. 2 breaths. 1 more breath. Okay, perfect. Come back to the center. Hug the knees into your chest firmly for 3 breaths. Squeeze the abs in. If you want to massage the back and spine side to side, you can. Otherwise, just cradle and take a few deep belly breaths as we unwind to get to the end of our flow today. 2 breaths. Squeezing the abs and get lots of oxygen in the body. Remember, after you've just stretched like we did, blood flow is so much better than it was. We can really get oxygen saturation high. It's one of those things that contributes to that kind of euphoric feeling you get when we sit up after a good 30 minutes of stretching. Last breath, my friends, and we are going to wrap it up right here. When you're ready, you come back to the center. Let your feet come down. You can roll up or sit up any way you like. And again, I want to thank you for starting your day with me or ending. I keep forgetting, who knows when you're watching these. For me, it's morning. Best way to start your day or end your day. That's our edition of this Yogalates. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And